Today we are going to be talking about 10 spring fashion trends for 2025. For 2025, I am trying to kind of look ahead to upcoming trends, take a look at them, decide if they work for me. If they don't, some of them are a direct yes, some of them are an absolute no, and some of them are ones that I can work into my own personal style. Now, I have 3 style words that I resonate for me personally, and those are classic, elegant, and chic. And I think I might need to sit down and kind of reevaluate those for 2025. So that is something I'm looking into. But one of the habits that I talked about in my most recent video that I want to get into is spending more time on Pinterest versus Instagram or TikTok, if TikTok stays around. So with that, I was playing around on Pinterest and I saw something that caught my eye, and it was spring trends for 2025. And I thought to myself, oh, I want to see what's coming up so that I can figure this out and kind of get ahead of it rather than starting to hear about trends and then kind of scrambling a little bit to try and see if they work for me. So I thought, what a great time to sit down and talk through them with you guys as well. And I found these 10 spring trends through a link that I had seen on Pinterest for Harper's Bazaar. And I feel like everybody has different ones, so maybe I'll touch base on a couple more as we go through it. If there's one particular place that you like to find about trends coming up, let me know down in the comments because I'm always looking for new ideas, which is a great way to then, once I find a trend that I think I may be able to work with, kind of then search that further on Pinterest and play with it a little bit more with items that I already own. The first one I'm going to talk about are asymmetrical skirts. Now, I'm kind of torn on this because I remember back in the day wearing asymmetrical skirts, something that was higher in the front, lower in the back, a high-low. I feel like the ones coming out for 2025 are a little bit more higher on one side, lower on the other. And you're kind of seeing the trends fall to the side more of those slit skirts and kind of make way for more of an asymmetrical high-low type of skirt. Now with this, I will say my own personal preference is I don't love this. I don't have anything in my wardrobe that could work for this. I don't have asymmetrical skirts. I have some pleated kind of A-line skirts. I have some slip dress type skirts. I have some faux leather pencil skirts, but I do not have any asymmetrical skirts. Now, will I purchase an asymmetrical skirt? I don't think so. This isn't something, looking ahead to this trend, that I feel like is a hole in my wardrobe. It just doesn't resonate with me, and it isn't something that I feel works with the items that I already have in my wardrobe. The next style trend I want to talk about are floral dresses. Now, I struggle with floral prints because if I'm going to wear a print, I like a really small print, just something that blends. I don't like a really big print. I don't mind one kind of statement to a floral. That's kind of my version of what that would be. However, I don't own a lot of even floral prints in tops, in anything. I'm definitely much more of a solid girl. So I don't think that this trend is for me. I also don't tend to really gravitate towards dresses that often. I tend to either wear separates. Yeah, I couldn't tell you the last time I wore a dress. I had a summer a couple years ago that I used Rent the Runway and I did a ton of dresses and that was fun. So maybe I need to rethink the whole dress thing. I do have a few dresses, but it tends to be in the summer. In the winter, it is definitely much more separates. So working in through the spring, maybe I'll look into kind of touching base with dresses, but I don't think my dresses will be florals. The next trend for spring is layers. Lots of layers on layers, and some of them I will say could work and I like the idea of, but they're not the layers that I'm seeing in these kind of posts about layering. They're almost kind of just multiple layers, like 3 layers. And I'm definitely much more of like, I would wear this sweater with I have like a tank underneath of it right now, but I would wear it more with like maybe a button down or a crew neck tee or something like that. I do like a button down with a collar under a crew neck sweater, something like that. But the layers of like leggings with like shorts over it, not really my thing. The long sleeve t-shirt with the short sleeve t-shirt and then like a sleeveless shirt, not really my thing. But I do also love the look of a layer in the form of a blazer with the sleeve or a cardigan with the sleeve pushed up and then a sleeve underneath sticking out of it. I do love the layers in that effect, and that is how I would work those layers into my own personal wardrobe. Another one that is going to be big for spring is sporty separates. So we know athleisure has had a big kind of revelation ever since COVID. And trust me, in the winter, I live in leggings, a t-shirt, and a sweatshirt. It's just my comfort zone. It's what I love. But we're seeing more of those sporty separates making their way into fashion trends. So more of those, perfect example, the Spanx Air Essentials, the Amazon set that, you know, is the 3/4 zip and the wide leg pants. That athleisure that you're seeing people wear when they're traveling, these wide leg, almost like sweatpants that are elevated to almost look a little bit more like a dress pant or have a little bit more style to it. And I'm here for that. I like twisting it and the juxtaposition of maybe a wide leg kind of sweatpant type pant, but then a nice cashmere sweater and then maybe a more collared jacket. I like mixing those. So this is one that I definitely think I will be playing with a lot in the spring. Another trend for the spring is high volume skirts. Now here's the thing, let's discuss this. I am 51 years old as of I am now 51 years old and I am not wearing mini skirts. The closest thing I come is I wear a jean skirt or those skirts in through the spring and summer a little bit, but by no means am I wearing a mini skirt, and definitely with volume. If I am going to use volume in my skirt, I prefer something like I think it's the Alex. It's the ball skirt. I've worn it at the holidays a couple times, and it is a big, full, almost ball skirt type with pockets. It has that additional volume, and that is kind of how I would bring that in. However, the other side of that is that skirt is not something that I would typically wear in the spring because mine is black in color. Maybe bringing in something that's a little bit in like a baby pink or a light color and kind of using that. I definitely would do a knee length or a midi skirt length for these. Next is the return of the 70s. And by return of the 70s, I'm talking that kind of, you know, the flare bell bottoms, the kind of caramel brown colors, the suedes, the corduroys, all of those type of warm feels that we've been seeing a lot in through the winter are going to continue on in through the spring as well. Also seeing a lot of paisleys, kind of more long line necklaces, you know, just that feel of the 70s altogether. Now, my style personally is not very 70s heavy, but I can find a way to pull in a flare leg jean. I can pull in a paisley print. I can pull in a suede or corduroy in a pant or a jacket, and I can play with it in those ways. Now, for the majority, I will say, I used to have a pair of corduroy pants that I loved, and I got rid of them quite a few years ago. But that is one hole that I think might be in my wardrobe that I may look for something in. I think I would go for more of a straight leg for my body type. My favorite jeans, I've talked about this 100 times over. I talked about them in my top 10 sellers for the year, is the Not Your Daughter Maryland straight leg. I have them in multiple colors of jeans. I have them in black coated denim. I have them in 2 colors of faux leather. If they made those in a faux suede or a suede or in a corduroy, I would be all over it. So this helps me from just aimlessly buying, and it also helps me kind of keep an eye open for certain items I'm looking for. Now, another item that is going to be a style trend for the spring, and I am here for it every year in the spring, summer, and fall, is stripes. Now the difference is it looks like it's going to be like an explosion of stripes, meaning stripes almost head to toe, like a dress that's head to toe. But I think by taking these stripes can be such an elegant, elevated, classic style. It just can look very chic if it is done right within my style. I have a cashmere crew neck sweater that has a couple stripes on it. I have a dress that is a striped dress. It doesn't have to be exact. It doesn't have to be thick stripes. I like just a little thin stripe. I like just to add a little bit of texture to an outfit with a stripe. My personal favorite is always layering some sort of blue and white or black and white stripe. But you can use stripes in any way or color you like. I do like a red and white stripe as well. I would say just within the last couple of years, I started bringing more red into my wardrobe. It was always something I used just as an accent, and now I'm kind of drawing it into my wardrobe a little bit more. Now, I personally think that stripes, if you are going to wear them on the bottom, I am a hippier girl. My stripes, I'm not wearing a pair of striped pants, let's just throw this out there, but they would need to be stripes running vertically, not horizontal. Horizontal stripes you have to be very careful with. They can make you look wider. So just take that part into account. Another thing we are seeing coming up for spring, and I have been seeing it all winter, is an all white ensemble. Winter white does not have to be a pure white, and I am here for it. I love, love, love the look of a winter white. All year round. I love it in the spring, summer, fall, winter, any time of year. I love throwing it on with a little camel coat. There are just so many ways you can do an all white outfit. You don't have to have it all pure white like we're seeing on the runways and on a lot of different advertisements and on a lot of different people. You can add in that caramel color in your shoes, in your belt, in your jacket, in your bag, and it still brings that look together. And for me personally, I like that little bit of just texture by adding in a little bit darker of a tone in the same color family. I love this. Another trend we are seeing in through the spring is fringe. Fringe is back. It's kind of a combination of that 70s we talked about earlier and fringe in a little bit different way. Now, I personally actually like fringe if it's used for me in the right way. For me, I could wear a dress that has fringe, but for me, the more Western or 70s style, like on a jacket, like a moto jacket or a suede jacket, doesn't necessarily work for me. For me, a great way to do it, I have a skirt that I wore around New Year's that's kind of a metallic fringe, for lack of a better term, and I can do that in a skirt by bringing the fringe in that way. I think I could wear it in a sweater if it was positioned correctly. So a sweater or a skirt. I don't think the jackets necessarily, they just err a little bit too far on the side of, I feel like I'm wearing a costume. It feels a little bit too 70s or a little bit too Western for my own personal style. But I love the idea of a fringe dress or fringe skirt or something that just gives that little bit extra texture to it. The last trend for spring I'm going to talk about is an oversized trench coat. I, in the last 2 years, have fallen in love with trench coats. I have a shorter one that is a tannish color with a black piping trim to it. Then I have one that is a longer, more oversized one that is in a traditional, more like camel or tan color. Tan would probably be a better description of that. And then I have a black one that is a hooded one as well. And they are just something about putting a trench coat on over any outfit. You could be wearing those leggings, that sweatshirt and t-shirt and sneakers that I talked about earlier. You throw a trench coat on and it can just elevate your look. I actually also, let me know what you think about this in the comments, had thought about doing a video of talking about items such as a trench coat, that can elevate your style easily by adding one item to any outfit. I have a couple ideas of things that I really think can pull your look together very simply by keeping a basic style and just adding little tweaks to it. Let me know what you think of that. But this oversized trench coat, I like a trench coat that's oversized, that has a belting to it that I can also tie in the back, which also then cinches in a little bit, which on me works best for my body type. But a trench coat is just such a great, classic, beautiful piece that anyone can get. I will say, when you are looking for a tan, more traditional color, be sure to try them on, because different ones with different skin tones work different ways. I have a much more pink undertone to my skin, so I can't go to one that has too much of an olive or green undertone. I need one that has more of a pinky nude undertone to it. So be sure to look into that as you are looking for those. So those are the 10 spring trends for fashion that I have seen coming up for this next season. Let me know what you thought of this style of video, and if you enjoyed this. I thought this was so fun to do, and it prepares me for the upcoming season. Don't forget, all of these trends are trends that you can use however they work for you, or they might be a direct, no, this does not work for me in my style.